Have you ever come across a story that, even when you've already seen the ending, is still able to make you cry like a little baby every time you replay it? A story that just gets more and more layered every time you go through it. There are very few stories that are able to make me teary-eyed anymore. Which is something that's just come out of me being desensitized to sad endings and such in stories by lazy writers cashing in on the noble sacrifice trope, where the hero sacrifices him/herself for the greater good, or something in that like. I was afraid that this desensitization would have made the game lose the impact it had on me when I was younger, that it would somehow have lost its touch after Hollywood had so thoroughly numbed me to emotionally connecting with characters on screen. But I was relieved to find that this game could still pull on my heartstrings and turn on the waterworks in even this desensitized prick. To the Moon is my tearjerker kryptonite, and always seems to bring me back into the younger kid I was back in 2012, watching PewDiePie, of all people, go figure, play it on his channel. This is my third time around the block with this game, and all three times it's delivered that rare and profound melancholy that only so many things can bring out in me. This is one of the games that inspired me to be a writer myself, showing me just how much you can do with so little. I mean, it's an RPG Maker game, for Christ's sake. It has no right being as good as it is. But it really is very beautiful. I wish I could have gone back to my first time experiencing the game again, so I could recount the emotional roller coaster I was taking on the first time playing this game. But, unfortunately, that's not possible. But at least I can try to convey to you just how much of a beautiful piece of art this game really is. And what's the best way to appreciate emotionally powerful art? By dissecting it, of course. Dissecting it with what, you may ask? With spoilers. Lots and lots of spoilers. But for this video, since I can't guarantee that everyone's played it, I'll keep things as vague as possible so that you can check it out yourselves, because if I just explain the story, it will lose more than a little of its magic the first time through. So please, do play it or watch it on a Let's Play if that's more your speed, but it certainly deserves your attention. It's beautiful. Let's cue the intro. To the Moon is the story about a pair of doctors with a futuristic machine that allows them to go into and alter the memories of dying people in order to grant them the happy ending they never got in life. Though the real story is not about them, but about their client, John Wiles, an old man on his deathbed with a single last wish: for them to take him to the moon. And to do that, they need to dive deep into his memories and convince his young self to become an astronaut. But on their trip down memory lane, they meet John's eccentric wife, River, and their very loving but tragic lives together. River had been born with a neurological disorder that made her communication with other people very difficult. Despite her disorder, however, John was head over heels in love with River almost immediately after they got to know each other, and River's feelings were very much the same. And so, the main problem for the doctors becomes that River, whom John had met in high school, was the only thing John ever cared about. John had no aspirations to be an astronaut as long as he had River, whose confusing behavior due to her disorder was more than enough to handle for John. But John had a shameful secret about why he first asked River to go out with him, something he couldn't bring himself to tell her until many years later, when the guilt must have gotten too heavy to bear for him. He had only wanted to date River at first because he wanted to use her status as the weird girl to become known as the weird girl's boyfriend, and not just be another face in the crowd in high school. And after he told her that, River at first seemed normal, like it was okay, but after a while, River started acting strange. River started making seemingly random requests and actions in attempts to communicate something to John, but they were impossible for John to understand, and this difficulty in communication took an emotional toll on both of them, and only made River's condition worse, making her do increasingly manic things due to her disorder to communicate, like fold hundreds upon hundreds of paper rabbits, or all of a sudden just cut her hair short one morning in front of the mirror. Just dumping the hair in a bucket, all the while asking John if he could understand it. Which, of course, he couldn't. Her actions just seemed obsessive and random to him. But as we find out later, her actions weren't random at all, in a powerful reveal that I will not spoil in this video, but we'll talk about in a discussion video on the philosophical and ethical dilemmas this story brings up in a later video. To the Moon is an excellent love and life story, told backwards, made all the more powerful by taking you through the confusion of John at the actions of River and truly make you invest in the mystery, to make you then want to dive deeper and deeper to find the answers, inviting you or even really provoking you to look into things more than just surface level, and I love that stuff. The game does a really good job of making it clear that things are not what they seem at first. Like with a fake inflatable boulder blocking your path in the very beginning of the game, or the secret locked room that was filled with all the paper rabbits River left behind after her death 2 years prior. The boulder seemed like it would be a problem that they would have to struggle to get rid of, but since it was actually just a beach ball, it just bounced away when they began to push. And the house looked warm and inviting, but the secret room that you needed to work to get into showed that there was more to the house than what it had previously seemed. They give you an impression of something, and then they subvert it to get you into the mindset of mystery, all to prime you for the mystery to come. Oh, by the way, this game loves its references, so if you're gonna check it out, I'm sure you'll have a fun time finding all the anime and game-related references and such. They're not too obscure or anything, but it's a fun little thing to take you away from the drama for a bit. Because there is a thing that I haven't talked about yet, which is that the game knows that it can't be a bummer all the time. Which is why they have Dr. Watts being the fool to Dr. Rosalene's straight man routine. Well, it's more that Dr. Watts behaves like a total child, and Dr. Rosalene acts like the adult in the duo. The amount of comic relief in this game makes sure you're never too taken with the tragedy to want to continue, which would be a shame because the story is truly beautiful. And the beautiful soundtrack that comes with it really sells the moments extremely well. The song For River, or To the Moon, only consists of 2 notes, but somehow makes itself instantly recognizable. It's iconic in a sense. I'm not gonna lie, I heard a version on it on Spotify for the first time in years in my Discover Weekly playlist, and seriously started crying from all the memories that welled up inside of me. I really love this game. To the Moon is one of my absolute most favorite games ever, despite it being an RPG Maker game with janky controls, because what it lacks in gameplay it more than makes up for in its truly amazing story. Even when I knew everything that was gonna happen, I still started crying, like a little baby at times, at how beautiful and tragic their lives ended up being. To the Moon will probably always hold a special place in my heart, and I truly hope you'll get out of it what I did, because everyone deserves some sweet, beautiful melancholy in their lives to remind them that they're alive. So, play the game and come back for the follow-up video where I give my own take on the ethical themes this game presents and shed light on a couple of things that I picked up in the game that might be interesting, at least. Here is where I ask you to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and ask you people in the comment section if you'd like to see more of this content in the future as well, where I talk about other works I love besides Steven Universe. I'd also like to know from those people who've played To the Moon if they loved it as much as I did. But with that, I will leave you for today, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.